Hey Danielle.
Hi, Molly. How are you?
I'm doing well. How are you?
I'm hanging in. Thank you.
That's all we can do.
Hi, everyone.
Danielle, do you know why the meeting said February 12th when you try to log on?
No, I do not.
Um,
I know
This,
we've had that issue. I'm using the same Zoom link for
yeah,
every
that's what I thought.
session, so I'm
Yeah.
not sure why. And I think I made it for the first time like in November. I'm not sure
Yeah.
what date is like that.
Okay. So sorry, just the reason I'm asking is because Peg and Lou are trying to record it from BCTV and they couldn't, they were asking me. I didn't know. I was like, just wait. Just use that code and just wait. So
Yeah.
they should be on the call or they should be trying to get in.
Yeah, I think BCTV is here.
Okay.
Um, Kate cannot hear anyone
That's on
with
her.
the meeting being recorded loud and clear. Can everyone else hear me speaking?
Yeah.
I can hear you.
So I'm going to write in the chat, Kate, can you turn on your closed caption? Um, I'm suggesting, and I can try to turn them on for the meeting as well, so that everyone can see captions. You should be able to see captions at the bottom of the screen now. It just started working. Great, awesome. Sometimes things are a little glitchy.
Hello, everyone.
Can
Hi, Nate.
confirm that, oh, sorry,
Just
I know.
captions are up.
had some trouble with the link today.
Not sure. Hearing that from some folks, it is the same Zoom link for all of our meetings. It's the
Yeah, it said February 12th on it though. So
Yeah, I'm not sure why that is the case. I can go into Zoom and redo everything, but then we're gonna have to update all of our agendas, which we can discuss because I think that's going to be on the docket of conversation. We can once we get through this round of interviews, we can create a new Zoom link from scratch and um, update the agendas. We can do it that way and start fresh. Maybe that'll help because I think there was some confusion with BCTV as well. So
okay. Um, well, so I'm going to call this meeting to order of the Belchertown Branding Committee at 12:05 p.m. I'd like to ask for a roll call voting members, please.
Maureen McGarren Hall, present.
Molly Robinson present.
Kate Nato present.
Chris Martin present.
Nate Shattuck present. Good morning, good afternoon, everyone. Hope everybody's well today. So we have some pretty much agenda wise. Let me get there. Uh, we need to have um, a review and approval of the minutes
and
for the committee.
And Nate, I'm not sure if this is required by Terry or not, but just going to announce this meeting
We
is
need to
being.
have a motion. But go ahead.
Oh, sorry. I think there's a lag. I'm not sure if this is required by Terry or not, but I just want to announce, or Nate, you can announce that the meeting is being recorded.
Oh, the meeting is being recorded. Yes.
Great, thanks. That's all. See.
I don't know why my computer's acting up here. Sorry. Um, right. So, Chris, you sent out minutes to everyone. I'd like to have a motion to or open up any discussions of those minutes at this time.
I
Yeah.
had nothing
Oh, go
to,
ahead.
I was going to say, I had nothing to add for the minutes, but I did want to say that I really appreciated the format that they were sent in. I thought they were really easy to follow along with. And I liked how the topics and who was speaking was put into bold. So I just wanted to say thank you. I appreciate that.
Thank you.
Chris, did you see the email that I sent this morning?
I did. Both you and Molly sent me emails right around the same time. And I only actually saw them a few minutes ago. So if you want to recap them, or I can.
You can.
Okay, so the first one, so Nate, you said that there was a statement in the 129 minutes that only 3 voting members need to be present for interviews. That it wasn't the case, that the committee is technically a 7-person committee, so the quorum would be 4 voting members. Are we a committee of 7 or of 5? I remember early it was like 5 to 7 members.
And that's the way it's listed currently. Is 5 to 7, and when you have 5 to 7, it defaults to the larger number for quorum.
The larger number, okay.
I did clarify that with the town clerk.
Okay, so I will.
I just wanted to make that point of adjustment for that, because
I'm looking to see where I had that. Do you remember where that was in the minutes? Because I can correct that. And then
I was probably about 3/4 of the way down after. It wasn't the first email you sent. It was in the one where the other ones are, where you had three or four groups of minutes in there.
Right. Yeah, I'm just looking to see where it says must be a quorum of 3. Well, I guess I can look for it myself. But we'll have that noted as that needs to be updated. And then you said it was the January 29th meeting and not the 22nd one?
Right, it's the 29th.
Okay. Yeah, if you could just I know you saw that. I'm not seeing exactly where it says that, but I can scan that later. Like I said, I only got the emails recently, so
So we wouldn't be able to.
we will note that change in the approval of the minutes.
Yeah, okay.
And then in the email from Molly, sorry, you said that there was a consistency issue with the way the members are listed between the previous version I sent and the current version I sent. Yeah, so I made a mistake originally with the minutes that was sent out for the 29th and had to switch around who was voting members and who was associate members and additional members to the committee. So the last version I sent of the January 29th meeting should be correct, where voting members are Nate, Molly, Chris, Maureen, Kate, and then associate members Doug and Maud, and then additional members Danielle, Jen, and Nicole.
Okay.
And on the 22nd, I will note that on the 22nd, that listing is different because in the 22nd, we decided to officially swap Doug out and Kate in. So like the actual voting members hadn't been officially finalized. So I just put them as additional. I put them all as additional members in that one and left the voting members to just the 4 of us. Does that make sense?
Yeah, that all makes sense. I was just looking at 2 that were both marked as January 29th and they showed up differently. So just wanted to make sure sounds like there was a good reason for all of that.
Yeah, so I sent an original January 29th that had to be revised. And
Okay.
But yeah, we would approve that for this meeting then. So it sounds like it's just finding out where in the 29th meeting that I said that there was a quorum of 3, and changing that to a quorum of 4. And then otherwise it sounds like we're good.
As far as I understand, I am not yet an associate member. I haven't been appointed yet, but I did put in my letter of interest.
Likewise, I believe I am not a member.
Gotcha. I thought you guys were like members by de facto or like the liaison or you were hired.
Yeah, I mean, serving as certainly as like staff support and liaison in that sense. But in terms of the kind of official membership role within the committee, I have yet to be appointed. I don't know, Nate, is mine one of the ones that was sent your way from
I do
Kennedy?
have I do have the email from Steve's office with your appointment as an associate member, and I was going to speak about that today.
Okay, and that's coming up on the agenda then. But okay.
Okay, so you and Doug are technically not associates. You're still down on that additional.
We are in process to becoming associates.
Okay. All right.
I just don't have anything for Doug. I have something for Modest, an associate non-voting member.
Gotcha. So I will I'll remove that associate member section for now. I'll be dropping Doug and Mod into that additional members, and I propose that we also change. Like, I guess I'll change that from additional members to additional members / support.
So maybe just avoid a title. Just say and, because in my experience,
There are titles based on the charter that was written, so there has to be. We have to follow that.
Right, but rather than having a category breakdown in the minutes, that will then raise like additional conversation about whether and how. I don't know. I might just say and as the heading would be my recommendation.
I hear that. It sounds very vague though, because like an and, does that mean that I should say that BCTV is here today because they were an and, like as they were present, right? Or should I just say I feel like additional member / support or / committee support would encompass.
I do that with other communities I work with when I am like a paid support person for that committee. So I think that's appropriate. And I note when there are members of the public present as well in the attendance generally.
Okay, haven't been doing that, but
I don't know if that's required though. That would be a Terry question.
And we haven't had no one has taken up on public comment yet. So I think when we have public comment, that's a perfectly fine opportunity to just identify who is speaking.
Right. Yeah. And I would, and that was my intention, was that if anybody ever speaks, then I would record them. And at least put it in the minutes, like so and so from this address or whatever this association said this. We just haven't had that come up. So I haven't put anybody in the attendance yet. So why don't I call that section committee support? I'll even share my screen to. So this is essentially what it will look like now, right? We'll have the 5 members up top, committee support down below, Danielle, Jen, Nicole, Doug, Mod. And if we, like after today, if Mod is moved up to like an associate member, then I'll add in that extra section and put her in there. Does that sound good to everybody?
Thank you.
I'm getting at least one thumbs up, so I'll go with that. Okay, so I will change those for the 29th and the 22nd, and I'll also change it for all the other ones that need to be approved at a later date, because we only said we're going to do the 22nd and the 29th now. I will say, I believe we have 30 days to approve any of the minutes after the meeting has been done. So we are within that time limit, so we're good. And we'll just figure out when to approve the other ones later on.
So someone can move to approve the minutes with the amendments that have just been suggested. And I also put in the chat, and I would flag and ask, and maybe this is something, Nate, you can bring forward to Terry, or Jen or Nicole or Chris could bring forward to Terry. I know there are a lot of municipalities that do not require written minutes because we are recording everything that's happening. And we do have general Zoom meeting notes. And before we made the shift of being a working group to a committee, that was how we were operating, is that the recordings and the meeting notes that were generated from Zoom would be sufficient. And the reason I'm asking if this can be brought up again is because this is a lot of work to expect a volunteer to do. So I just want to flag that, like, Chris is not getting paid to do this. This is like a lot. So given that we all originally thought this was a working group, given that we have recordings, we have notes, and other municipalities have a best practice of using the recordings as minutes instead of having someone do this documentation process every 2 weeks, essentially, since we're meeting so regularly. And even more frequently than that, when we're having interviews, like this is a huge amount of labor. I don't know if that's possible. So we have documentation in the form of recording, and we have documentation in the form of notes that are generated by Zoom. And I'm wondering if someone can advocate that we assume this practice so that we're not tasking someone with this huge amount of work. But anyway.
So I will recognize it is a lot of work, and I've said that at least to my wife, and was up late doing these. But really, that was my own fault of not starting these sooner or getting a template ready. I don't mind doing it, and now that I have a system going on, it's not so bad. And I do believe it is required. It's definitely a point of
It
contention.
absolutely is.
Other committees in the town that we need to start getting minutes listed on the website. So I think that from our perspective, I would like to keep doing this. And as clerk, I would say we should be doing this.
It is absolutely required.
Yeah. And I know that Zoom generates those meeting notes. They're not complete. They don't have like the attendance call in them. And I've noticed some spelling errors, things like that. So I would have to go through them all anyway. And I don't know, like, and honestly, I've been using GPT to help me. I throw the agenda, the Zoom minute notes, any of the documents that we have recorded and everything. I just put it all into there and tell it to write me a minutes, and then go through myself and just make little line item changes, which isn't too bad.
Okay.
I appreciate it. I thank you.
Up to you,
for
Chris.
looking out for me. And it was a lot of work to get to this point, but I think at this point it's not so bad right now that I have a system and a template going. So yeah, I think we're okay. Jen,
Chris, I can't find where I read that meeting note. I'll have to go back, but I'm going to say
there's a chance I did make a couple updates into the copy.
Yeah, I'm not sure which, the 129 one that you sent on the 4th. I'm okay with. I don't see that note that I read.
Okay, perfect. Yeah, there were a couple little edits that I needed to make. Like I said, I was kind of like playing around with my system and changed a few things. So definitely the large.
Oh yes, it is. I take that back. I take that back. It's on page 3.
Okay.
And it says here, Ms. Moto will be responsible for scheduling the interviews, preparing folders with evaluation rubrics, assigning interview questions to the committee members based on availability. Each interview will be open meeting format, which will require at least 3 voting members present. That needs to be changed.
It's now 4.
It needs to be 4. That's great. What I was referring to. So,
okay.
My apologies.
No, thank you. So I am going to make the motion that we approve the minutes from January 29th and January 22nd, given the changes I made to changing 3 to 4 and changes to the attendance structure. With those updates that we approve these.
I'm going to second that.
Thank you. And then Nate, all those in favor?
Oh, yes. I'm sorry. We need to have a roll call vote of that. State your name and how you vote to approve the 2 sets.
Maureen McGarrett Hall, aye.
Holly Robinson, aye.
Chris Martin, aye.
Nate Shattuck, aye.
Okay, that's everyone.
I'm Kate too.
That's right. Kate needs to go.
I was listed as an unvoting member in the last minutes, so I didn't think I had to vote, but I can vote.
So I looked through I listened to all the old minutes or meetings and everything, and I believe we all decided technically you are a voting member.
That's what I thought too. So yes, I agree.
Excellent.
All the
And,
correspondence that I have indicates that as well.
and Chris, I'm not sure if you're able to see on the very bottom of your Zoom screen a button that says transcript.
No.
Okay, so I have that on my screen.
Oh,
I
it's
don't,
in the more section. Sorry. Yes, I have transcript.
if it is helpful, you can turn it on, and then at the very end of the meeting, do save transcript. I will try to remember to do that as well, and that might simplify your life a little bit too.
Absolutely. Thank you very much. Yeah.
Sorry, I'm just Molly flagged it and I just turned it on now. I don't think it auto turns on. I think you have to do it at the start of each meeting so we can tag team remembering to do that and hopefully save you some time.
Yeah, this is perfect because like I said, I mean, like all of this is public stuff, so like putting it into a GPT thing, like to me, does like that's fine. Like anybody could do that anyway. So we're not giving away secrets. So like I said, all the documents just go up in there. I tell it to write me a whole review, and it does it, and takes 10 seconds, and then I read through it all and make sure it has everything.
Great.
Cool.
Okay. Well,
Okay.
minutes been approved. Back to Nate.
Okay, so I'm juggling three things here. So next up, we have a letter of interest, which I emailed to all the voting members. And I'm going to ask for a motion to approve the recommendation of Ed Knight for appointment to the committee. He is, and did you all see the email from Ed?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay, and so I'm going to ask for a motion at this time to approve the recommendation for appointment of Ed Knight to the committee. Yeah, if there's no discussion.
That would bring us to 6 voting members, right? And it sounds like Maud, you're working on getting to be a voting member. So then we'll have 7 or
I would not be a voting member.
Oh, okay.
Associate member would not be, yeah.
Okay. And I'd rather have another voice than just avoid the risk of like a tie vote. I'm in favor.
I feel like his history and connection to the town and his knowledge of the town history is important to this group.
I agree. Maureen McGarrett Hall, I am gonna agree with that. I do agree with the concern of not having that odd vote in. Again, being new to this committee and new on a committee, to me, that I would think makes the most sense, but as well, he has the history. So I say aye, and however that looks and what needs to happen moving forward, I guess we can address.
So I feel that he can bring a lot to the table here, especially when it comes to incorporating
Yeah, I agree. I agree.
town that he has. So I feel it's important.
Nice.
So with the assumption that Ed is approved as a member, there's still one open seat. I guess my question is, if we imagine Ed as part of the tapestry of this committee, what other perspectives might be missing? And are there any other perspectives missing that folks really want to bring on? I know that like many of you were working really hard to try to bring like a young person on board, and it was just difficult to make that possible, given people away at college and or not full time in town or whatever the case may be. But
It is advertised at now as there is an open committee position. So you know, I feel like the more voice we have from community members is you know, today we have we have the opportunity to add Ed, and I feel like I feel good about that. I feel like that he would be an asset here. So in that case, can I ask for a motion to approve the recommendation of Ed Knight to this committee?
I make a motion to approve Ed Knight to the committee.
Who is this?
Molly Robinson.
Okay. Can I have a second?
Sure, I'll second it.
Second from Chris Martin. So moved. And
Well, we
then
have
to do
vote, right?
I'm sorry. I apologize. We need to do a vote on that.
Yep.
Molly Robinson, aye.
Kate Nato, aye.
Maureen McGarrett Hall, aye.
Chris Martin, aye.
And Nate Shattuck, aye.
And Nate, I remember when you joined, which was many weeks ago at this point, it feels like a lifetime. You were just like, what the heck is going on? There's so much information and a lot has happened. Can we just make sure that Ed is somehow fully onboarded and like goes through everything in some way so that we don't have to.
I will ensure that, and Ed is here on this conversation today.
Oh, amazing. Hi, Ed.
He is with us. And then, so I'm going to, he will, once I'm going to pass this on to the town manager for appointment, and then we can move forward to that.
Cool. Thanks.
And I believe Ed can participate in conversation, but just not vote. Is that correct today?
Correct.
All right. And then Nate, I'm going to ask, or Ed, someone to communicate Ed's email address to me so that I can add him to our email thread and our calendar invite. And I'm not sure if Ed is planning to join us this afternoon. We'll discuss,
We have to wait. We have to wait for the town manager for the final appointment.
I think he can still join. He just can't.
As a public member, yes, he can still join.
So if he would like to, I just want to make sure that he gets the invite to join.
Okay. And so
I just want to speak up that at least in the communications committee, nobody's ever complained to us from outside, from the town staff or anything. Once somebody's voted in, we just bring them into the table. We let them join the discussions, like right then and there. We have them on board, so they're public, but they're not public right at that moment. Again, we don't give them a voting role. They have to be signed and certified by the town, get their approval card by the town clerk, and then they can vote. But we just bring them and let them join the conversation and everything at that moment.
Okay, I don't know that as a point of clarity, but I'm okay with the conversation for sure.
So I mean, if he's here today, if he wants to throw the camera on and join us, I'm okay with it personally.
And maybe introduce yourself and say hi. We'd love to welcome you.
Ed, are you there? Maybe not. I can't see.
And thank you, Nicole, for dropping Ed's email. I am going to just add you, Ed, to the various calendar invites. There are many of them. And if you're able to join. If not, that's totally fine. It doesn't impact our quorum or anything. But if you want to be there, I just want you to have the information that you need, and I'll add you to our drive. And Nate, are you handling onboarding?
Yes, I'm going to send the correspondence.
If there are any tech questions, access
the town manager that we've voted to.
Okay. So if you want to do a content onboarding, I think I have a lag.
I can't hear it.
That's on you, Nate.
What's that?
I think it's on you if you can't hear.
I can't hear. Everything's on my end. Oh, are you there?
We're here.
You
Okay.
seem like maybe a lag, but oh, maybe you're back.
I'm back.
Okay.
Not sure what's up, but I apologize.
I just wanted clarity from you, Nate, as to how and if you need me to onboard Ed when it comes to the drive, communications, meeting stuff. If you're
Yes, once
able
I
to
once
handle all that, that's
once
fine.
I
But I just wanted to make sure I have time to meet with him or plan or do whatever needs to be done.
yeah, once I get the final approval, the go ahead, then yeah, I can send everything to him or to you, either way, and we can go from there. Okay.
Great. In the meantime, Ed, I'm adding you to our calendar just so that you have it for today.
And then so, all right, excellent. I'm in the process of, I wanted to send along, I'm not, and forgive me, I don't know how to share something to the screen on the, on Zoom. I haven't done that before, so I apologize. But I wanted to forward on the appointment recommendations regarding Doug and Maud from the town manager's office.
Nate,
And so-
if you do want to share your screen, if you look to the very bottom of your Zoom, there should be a green box with an up arrow in it.
Oh, I see. Okay.
Yeah, so if you click that, it'll show your window and you select specifically the screen that you want to share or the document you want to share, and then click share and we should be able to see it.
All right. Let me open that up and I can actually share it. I have sent the email through. I don't know why. I think I sent. All right, so let's try this. I apologize for my rookie
Doing great.
stuff here. Let's see. Can we see this? Do you see it?
It's starting. There it is.
Yep, we can see it.
How's it going?
I'm good.
Okay.
How are you?
It's like a dream.
So we have, this is January 24th, 2025, that the following individuals resigned from a full member to being reappointed to as an associate non-voting the branding committee with terms effective immediately through the final report. I don't know that we have to take any action on this at this time, but this was for regarding the change. I know Maud was asking about that before, and then we have this one. And this has been amended to reflect a member of Kate through the final report. So that's where that information came from before. So hopefully that clarifies. That clarifies what we were talking about. Make sense?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Okay. So moving along. In the agenda, we have, I'm sorry, I'm going back and forth here quite a bit. The project, the project itself, is there any update, that you have, Danielle, at this time?
So I think that we had flagged for conversation Nicole had raised a good point for us to discuss by email. So sorry, Maud.
Sorry, before we move on, I had submitted a letter of interest for my associate membership to the, so before I move on from membership.
All right.
Did you receive that?
I did receive that. Allow me to share that as well.
Can I ask that you share it with the voting members? It has my home address on it, and I recognize that this is being
Oh,
recorded.
certainly. Certainly, we can do that.
Thank you.
I can email that as we speak. If I can walk and chew gum at the same time.
Sorry for adding a wrinkle.
Great. So everyone can keep an eye out just to see Maud's letter of interest. I don't, do we, I think we've already voted to approve.
Yeah, that's already, it's just a point of clarity, I think.
Well, I
Um,
wrote Finnerty, and I was told that it did need to be confirmed in the meeting
Okay.
for me to move forward. So I was on hold until this body confirmed me to be appointed.
So someone could move to appoint Maud as an associate member.
A
Okay.
motion to approve Maud as an associate member.
Second that motion, Molly Robinson.
Maureen McGarrett Hall, yes.
Well, Nate has to call the vote. I mean,
I'm going to open up is there any discussion? Hearing none, then I'm going to call a vote to add Maud as an associate member. I'm voting.
Maureen McGarrett Hall, aye.
Kate Nato, aye.
Molly Robinson, aye.
Chris Martin, aye.
Nate Shattuck, aye.
Fantastic. Welcome.
Okay. Okay.
Welcome
So
to the committee,
that's
Maud.
that.
Update the attendee list.
All right.
Okay, so we're moving on into the actual project discussion today. And so Danielle, I'll open it up to you at this point.
Yeah, we have a hard stop for some folks. So I just want to move us through this as a little bit quickly. Nicole had suggested adding to our Q&A on the website the note that any changes to our town seal must be voted on by residents at the annual town meeting, and that is something that's happening. So, in the confusion of things that have been raised, like this is an opportunity for us to share that there is going to be a process. So I wanted to raise that. Nicole, I don't know if you have anything to add. I want to make sure we have a couple of minutes to discuss that.
Yeah, no, that was my only recommendation, but I did kind of want to elaborate on something that Terry said to me in an email about town seal, because I was reading through the FAQs. I noticed, because I'm hearing grumblings kind of in the community of, well, what's our role in going to be with approving this? And so I went to the FAQs. I noticed that there was no mention of this going to town meeting. And so I re-verified with Terry, and she said, yes, it has to go to town meeting. But she also elaborated, and I just want to share what she said and just kind of see what you all think about this. She said, yes, any change to town seal must go to town meeting for a vote. Typically, this process takes a few years before it's brought to the town meeting floor. For most towns who have changed their seal, it was a multi-year process to be sure to include the residents and lots of discussions. Changing the seal is not a decision to be made quickly. So just sharing that with the group.
I haven't seen the Amesbury one in a while, but they made it a case that it doesn't need to be that difficult, and that if we go through the process like we are today, we're finding the designer, we get the committee together, we put everything together, we have a good a good story, a good branding, and everything, and we approve it. It can go to the town. It does need to go to the town meeting, but I don't think it needs to take years to happen. I think it could just go.
And Kate and Steve actually did some pre-thinking and pre-conversation on this. So I'll give a little preview, and then Kate, I want to invite you to jump in here too. One of the things that we want to be really clear about is that technically we're not referring to what's happening to the seal as a change. We're referring to it as an update. We're updating it so that it is usable, that it is accessible, that it is clear, that it is ADA compliant. It is not like a complete throw away and start over with town seal. And Kate was actually meticulous in every copy edit that we did on all of the documents that went online to make sure that we referred to what's happening to the seal as updating it. Kate, I don't know if you want to speak to your conversation with Steve on that.
Yeah, no, that's absolutely true. We are not looking to change the town seal. We are looking to update it so that the seal can actually be used in a digital form. And that is entirely different than changing the town seal. Although, it would have to go to vote at the town meeting. But we're not looking to be ripping out elements of it. We're looking to make it so that the seal can be digitally used, because we can't digitize what we have without incurring huge expenses, because technically the town seal is this painted ginormous document that isn't something that you can just go and digitize easy.
That's really good to know. I didn't realize that was what our approach was to the seal. So that's good.
Yeah.
And did I hear there was layouts or something like that already in the works?
The communications committee had spent some time trying to digitize the seal using the assets that we have, and we weren't able to produce anything usable based on the resources that we had, without incurring any expenses. The communications committee doesn't have any money, so it's not like they could go any further with that. So we're updating the seal, but we're making a new logo. Logos are independent of the seal. So the process that applies to the seal being an official item that's registered with the state and everything else is entirely different than creating a logo.
So I would just make a recommendation that the committee maybe kind of elaborate in the FAQs what role folks in town would have in that process, as far as town meeting goes, and maybe and it sounds like you did make it clear that it is just an update. I have heard that before, so but maybe if we could just add to FAQs that it does have to go to town meeting as well.
I think that's great. One of the things that we say is there will be opportunities to participate, and we're still working on what that timeline is because we haven't had hired the graphic designer yet. But I think starting to build out the timeline of participation with this end date of the town meeting approval is a great idea. And I don't know if Kate or Chris, that's something that maybe that either of you could add to the site.
Yeah, that could be added.
Yeah, and we can put something on Facebook as we get further into this process. And I'm sure we're going to be doing some sort of announcement once we have selected the design firm, and we can also spend some more time then really laying out more to people what we're actually doing, and noting the different places that they'll be able to be involved, and looping back around that the updated logo would be voted on at town meeting.
Thank you. Thank you all for your support with that. And Nicole, I think spot on recommendation. And I hope it'll be helpful. The other thing that's related to branding Belchertown business that I wanted to make sure we had a little bit of time to start discussion. We're not going to be able to do this in 15 minutes when folks have to hop off. Is start looking at these significant elements that folks have shared with us from the municipal survey. So the only thing that I did was pull the answers to that question out into a document. But I wanted to share that with you all just to give you a sense of what people are saying, because you're seeing already this is starting to come up in the conversations with the graphic designers. And I want to make sure that we're starting to think about this, because we'll have to do a design brief once we bring someone on, and everyone is going to have their opinions within this committee. But, part of what we're doing is representing broader community. So wanted to share this with you. These are some of the responses that came through. I obviously encourage you to take a look at all of the answers, but just things to start thinking about and discussing.
You email that to all of us, please.
Yes, it is in our folder. So
I understand that. With the amount of things that have been sent around. I just wanted to make it easy for everybody to have. Not that it's hard, but sorry. You don't have to do it right this minute, but
No, I'll do it in case you want to open on your computer. So it'll be at the top of your inbox.
I can see it here.
Okay, great. But these were some of the responses to what elements of Belchertown's history, culture, or values do you think should be reflected in the new visual identity? So, you know, there's a lot of responses. There's a couple of pages of responses here. And would just love to hear your thoughts on which of these, if any of these are resonating, and sow the seed for continued conversation with the designer later. These responses came from the municipal staff survey. So this is staff only. This is not the public. This is well, they are part of the public, but this is from the staff survey that we asked. So there will have to be community feedback as well. We've talked about that. You've heard some of the designers propose methods of soliciting that, but this is some of what we have. And then the rest of what we have is all of your brilliant brains. So
it was like what, 100 people or so?
I believe we're up to 85.
Okay. We can certainly use this for sure in our discussions. Once we've
And to the end about the survey, the town employees were told that the survey was closing on January 31st. So if you haven't had a chance to close the survey yet, Danielle, could you please?
Sure. Yes.
Thank you.
That. Thank you. In looking at these, I was surprised by the consensus around natural landscape, natural beauty. That's something that I definitely associate with the town. It's something that's come up in a lot of our conversations, but I was like pleasantly surprised and found it affirming that so many people have mentioned the natural landscape in their responses, whether that's the Quabbin or just generally agriculture and the outdoors. But that is the one thing that I think is high indexing in response. There are lots of other things that have come up multiple times, but agriculture, natural landscape is the one that is kind of most repeated I've seen.
And they do seem the most representative as far as, my thoughts are.
Mm-hmm.
We do have a beach in town. I mean, that part of our identity.
You're funny.
I think maybe I'll stop share and I'll just ask you the question, and maybe we could put 5 minutes I'll put a timer on for 5 minutes and I'll take notes. We'll have the transcript, but I'll ask you the same question. What elements of Belchertown's history, culture, and values do you think committee members should be reflected in the new identity?
I would have to say the farming. I would have to say Quabbin. I think that we all lose sight that we have Quabbin right here, the main gate. And it's just the most historical, beautiful thing right in our own backyard. And I really think that that's something that should be emulated. When we go to make the logo, emulated. Sorry, emulized.
Yeah, I mean, I think definitely farming, nature, that's some of the reasons why I moved out here, is because it was just, like beautiful land, and like, you can get a house where you're kind of out of the way of everything. Definitely coming from like a city, or from Lynn where I was before. So those are huge for me, and just like outdoors life, whether that is, farming, or just a small garden, or just being outside and doing, like, there's so many activities that people could do in town, like, hiking trails, and the even the frisbee golf, and other things, all the playing fields in the middle of town for the kids and everybody else. Outdoor life is very big in this area.
You can't call it frisbee, Chris. Disc golf.
Disc golf. That's it. I couldn't think of the name. Sorry. I clearly don't play it, but
It's the sense of community in town common, the historical part of the 300-year town history.
Yeah, I was gonna say the common to me is iconic. As a kid, we were always walking uptown, going to the common, going to the fair, farming and agriculture, and like being able to grow a business here and make a place for work and community in town is rings true to me. Like I'm fourth generation Belchertown, and my entire family has like made business in Belchertown, working with the land and working with animals, or whatever it might be, just in the community.
and I will say that history is important and definitely rings true to this as well, because like I learn just about every week something new about Belchertown or something cool, like that stuff about the history of the carriages, and that we made like specialized carriages that were used all around the world, or the was it Pansy Park, and stuff like that. Like there's so many like really cool things that have been kind of lost in time about Belchertown, and the towns that it was. Um, but there's a lot of stuff to like dig up and discover here.
I also think too, that it's important to in some frame keep in mind the town's history with the state school. I don't think we would be doing any justice to ourselves if we completely omitted that ever happened in our town's history. And I'm not sure how that would be graphically represented. Like people don't move to Belchertown because of the fact that it used to have the state school here, although my kids find the old buildings really cool. But I do think like we can't kind of wash over that part of our history. And kind of getting away from like the nature and the outdoors too. I also think it's important to note that, Belchertown has an up and coming art scene. And that there's a lot of focus on, working with the creative economy, and the arts for the community, the work that the library does, in engaging not only the youth, but adults as well too, with their different services, I think is really important.
We're going to have to move on here, to keep the meeting going, in time. So we do have a short opportunity for new business. Does anyone have anything?
Well, I will remind everyone that we have our final meeting at 3 p.m. with locality. It'll be our regular 45-minute meeting. And then we have a little bit of an extended discussion period to hopefully make a decision on who to hire at that point.
Okay, so because of the way the meetings were posted today, we have to post like we did the other day. We have to sign in and make a meeting at 1 p.m. to 2 p.m.
So this is that meeting.
No, it's not. It is not. There's two separate agendas posted on the town website.
This Zoom container is the same container. So I can share my screen.
We have to adjourn this meeting, open the new meeting at 1 p.m. and put a sign up and say that we are in recess until 2 p.m. and close it.
Can we just open at 1 and then close at 1:01 and say that the meeting adjourned early and have this?
But we have to formally open a meeting. Yes. We have to do that.
Okay, that's totally fine, and I'm happy to keep my Zoom screen up for an hour. I'm not going to record that because I don't think we have to. I'll keep the screen up that says the meeting has adjourned early.
Yeah, right. But we just have to do the steps and make the protocol happen to accommodate that this time, just because of the way it fell and the way it happened. So in the future, we won't have to do that, but we have to do that now.
Yeah, and I think your motion, and unfortunately, I agree with you, Nate, that because of the way that the agendas are written, there are two agendas. It does say one's at 12, one's at 1. What we can do is close this meeting and open the next one in the same motion, I believe. That we motion to end this one and open the next meeting, or and start the one. Well, I guess it's not 1 o'clock yet. We could do it at 1, but not.
Right. We have to do it. We have to do it at 1.
And then we vote to recess, until 12.
Yeah, and then we don't have any business to conduct, and then we can close that meeting. And but we do need, Danielle, we do need to have that sign up that says, just from a public, so the public knows.
I have it, and it's the same. It's the same Zoom meeting.
Yeah. Okay. Okay. All right. Excellent.
Yep, I have it.
All right. That'll work for that. And I have one question for everyone. Running a business and everything. These meetings are at noon. I would think that if, as we move forward with more public interest and more public engagement, having a different meeting time might be more conducive to having more involvement from the public. I wanted to, throw that out there.
Can I say something?
Yep.
Nate, I just want to make you cognizant, and like, Danielle is paid to do the work of project managing this. And there will be slated opportunities for the public to get involved with at different times and locations that will be more available than this time frame. So we have to be cognizant. Like, she has a scope of work and all this additional like moving around, like she has to fit it into the work that we're paying her to do. So I just want to be really cognizant of that.
Okay. I'm just thinking of all the volunteers and everything in the middle of the day, just from that sake, from a public standpoint, and also a, volunteer standpoint. So I'm not sure how we got to noontime for a meeting time, but that's.
So I think that the original thought process behind noon was that it was a time that staff who are expected to participate in the process could make work. But this was also before like Kate was hired, right? So, Kate's part of this process too. It is a lunch hour. So a lot of folks actually are able to like use this as their lunch break during the day, for those who do have like yourselves have full-time jobs that are not this committee work. But if this time is not convenient for those in the committee, I think it's worth discussing. I think when it comes to public participation, there are and will be many other forums, and you all are the ambassadors to public. So I don't feel like this time excludes public participation, but if everyone does and we feel that we need to change things, we blocked this time from now until June. I blocked this time on my calendar from now until June. I will need to hear from you when you want to meet and see what is possible, right? You're a very important client, and I have other clients too. So this was the time that we had blocked. And I can try to change it, but I just need to hear from you what the options are to see what is.
And perhaps we should research that a little bit for the next meeting. And just a conversation, because it affects a lot of people, and we certainly want to be as accessible as possible. Not only for
by email
to the public.
And we can discuss scheduling by email. Is that correct? So I think maybe we can, Nate, if you want to raise that to the group on our planning thread.
Certainly, I can do that. Okay. So, is there any other business to come before us? Can I ask for a motion to close this meeting?
I will say, now that it's 1 o'clock, we can close and open the next one.
I need a second. I need a motion to close first.
I'll do it. I motion that we close this 12 o'clock meeting and at the same time open the 1 o'clock meeting.
I second that.
All in favor?
Holly Robinson, aye.
Miguel Hall, aye.
Chris Martin, aye.
Kate Nato, aye.
Lee Shattuck, aye.
It is 1:01.
It's 1:01. Welcome to the 1 o'clock meeting for the Belchertown Branding Committee. At this time, I'm going to state that we haven't any business to conduct for this meeting, and that we are going to ask for a motion to adjourn.
It's a motion to recess, and
motion to recess. I'm sorry.
I motion to recess until 12 o'clock. No, not 12 o'clock, 2 o'clock, 2 p.m.
Wait, I thought our meeting was at 3.
Sorry, it's 3. You're right. I keep screwing up. 3.
But no, for this meeting, we have to go till 2 p.m. And then
Can we close? Can someone motion to close this meeting early and adjourn early?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, and then we just have to say that we've adjourned at 1:02 p.m. or 1:03 p.m. whenever that happens, and then we put it up on the screen and say that we've adjourned, and we will be back for a 3 p.m. So I'm going to ask for a motion to close this meeting.
No.
A motion to close this meeting now at 1:03 p.m.
I second that.
And I'll call a vote.
Adjourn the meeting.
Kate Nato, aye.
Molly Robinson, aye.
Chris Martin, aye.
Okay, Chaddock, aye.
Okay, is that everyone?
Okay. See
Thank
everyone at 3. Bye.
Hi, everyone.
I'm just gonna pause the recording.